Hello, everyone, and welcome. For the longest time, I thought yesterday was Sunday, but somewhere on the fringes of my mind, I knew it was Monday. But it felt honestly like Sunday, because everybody was home for us because it's Independence Day, it's a long weekend, so it just felt so weird. Pardon me, somebody's a little tired, but I digress. Today, I wanted to touch a little bit on, because I know I always say it's human nature, but I think when we keep hearing it's human nature, I think that we take it for granted and we think that perhaps because it's nature, we don't have some semblance of control over the situation, right? So, yes, it is human nature in that we all have habits and we do things in a particular pattern. But rising above human nature would be to choose the habit or choose the pattern that you want to recreate in your existence. I was in a very beautiful space yesterday and with Tam here on Fanbase, and it was a very, very beautiful space in that she was reading from Behold the Pale Horse. I don't know if you've ever read it. I've never read it. But when you read it, you can clearly see the law. And that's why I had to say this morning, even though we know it's the nature of man, it is very easy for man to, when I say man, I'm saying human, people, male and female. That's what I'm saying. It's challenging sometimes because when we hear, oh, well, that's just the nature of man, and what happens with us, we feel as if we have to give in to the greed. We feel as if we have to give in to the violence. We feel as though we have to give in to those things that, quote unquote, are human nature. But nature is a pattern, nature is a rhythm, and it will always follow a rhythm. But you see, humanity, because we think and we reason, we can choose what rhythm or what pattern we want to recreate in our lives. And the book stood out to me so much because they were talking about all the things that are going on in the world. Things, systems. If you look, when we say, oh, that's how the system is set up, look at it. The system has to follow a pattern and it follows a rhythm because nothing cannot not follow rhythm or pattern. So it doesn't matter what you come up with, it will follow a rhythm and it will follow a pattern. So when you hear the phrase to hack the pattern or, to escape the matrix, things like that, what is actually happening there is when you can recognize the pattern, when you can recognize that you're being goaded or prodded to have a reaction based upon your very nature. Now you are empowered to recognize, wait a minute, I don't have to follow that pattern. This is why when Neville Goddard is telling you that I am, that's who's creating things. Well, yes, we all follow a pattern and a rhythm. We don't have a choice in that because it is the way things it I don't want to say it's the way things work, so I will say it this way. It is law. It is the principle. It doesn't matter what planet you want to go to. Saturn still turns. Saturn still has a pattern. And the reason you know that Saturn has a pattern is because they tell you Earth, we 24 hours will make one day for us. But what they've done is they've recognized the pattern for all the other planets. How many hours makes a day for them? How many days makes a year for them? They've counted the rhythm. Everything has a rhythm. We must follow rhythm. But because we can think and we can reason, we get to choose the rhythm we want to follow. That's your free will. That's your free will. You see, we keep hearing about free will and we throw it out there, but it has a much bigger understanding to it, right? We have free will in that we get to choose the pattern. Why? Because you have to have a pattern. It's like when you buy a computer, there's already stuff on it. There's already stuff on it. Just like when you get your phone, there are already certain apps on it. And those apps are part of the operating system. That's what the law is. The operating system. Right? Listen, when I tell you everything follows principle, everything follows law, I'm not kidding. The way the computer is set up, the way the phone is set up, if you look at it, there is a rhythm, there is a pattern, there is a way that it is designed to work. And if it does not follow that parameter, it malfunctions until you get it back to where it should be. Cars are built the same way. So what I'm showing you here is nothing can deviate from the principles or the laws of creation. Absolutely nothing can deviate from it. And so then the question becomes, well, do you have free will? Of course you do. To choose a pattern. But you can't choose how the body is going to operate. You can't choose how it's going to operate. You just have to fall in line with how it operates. Because that's the way again, it's its nature, right? It's its operating system. So how do you apply that knowledge to changing your life? You apply that knowledge to changing your life by recognizing we must follow a pattern of behavior. We eat, we drink, we sleep, we go potty. That's the pattern. But you get to choose what you eat. Because you have to eat. You have to drink, so you choose. Do you want water? Some people say, well, I can't handle the taste of water. I'm like, well, water doesn't have a taste. It doesn't. Coconut water has a taste, but water doesn't have a taste. It is neutral because of its function. So water has to operate in that fashion. So you get to choose if you'll drink water or if you'll add something to your water. So how are you going to apply this to your life? We know that we get up and we do things. Well, what do you want to do? We know that we have different skills that we're really good at. Well, which one do you want to choose? If you want to do them all, you sure can. One of them is going to mean more to you than the others. It doesn't mean you're not good at anything else. It just means you like doing them all, so you do them. But how do you change? Recognize that, quote unquote, what we call generational curses are habits, a pattern that we've learned from each other. So within the family unit, we've learned from each other. Mother did it this way. Daddy did it that way. So we learn to do things in that way because it's the operating system of that family. Now, to change something, if something is distasteful to you, you don't like being hit, you don't like being yelled at. I mean, mind you, who does? But that's what it's been like in your family. If you don't like that, you don't have to continue in that way. You get to choose. You know what? I didn't like being spanked as a child. I'm not going to spank my children. So, what are you going to do to maintain the order in your space? You must have the order. Order must be maintained. So, what will you do to implement that order in your space? So, you're not going to punish as a corporal or capital punishment, beating, you understand? So, what are you going to do? Are you going to speak and teach? Now you start something new. And I know that because we've done something for such a long time, we think that it's set in stone. It isn't. This is the whole thing I'm trying to get to you today. It's not set in stone in that you can choose what thing to do, what habit. You can choose it because we must have habits. We can't not have habits. So you'll choose which one. Now let's use the law of correspondence. As above, so below. To have the habit is above. Now let's go below. Look at the world. There's a habit going on. It was such a beautiful space where she spoke about, if you look at the banking system, it starts off with your social security number. And then it goes to your credit score. And then it goes to what you can access based upon that credit score. So within that banking system, we do something. We behave in a particular way in the banking system. We spend or we invest in the banking system. And which one we do depends upon what we learned how to do regarding money. I want you to hear what I'm saying to you. Every single system has been designed in such a way. Look at education. It's always been the mother's role. I should say it's always been the family's role because we learn from the family unit. It doesn't matter what we do, we always learn. But because we can't not learn, do you understand? We have to learn. This is how we expand and this is how we grow. That is principle, that is law. We must expand. So we go from knowing nothing to learning something. We have to. So then the education system was designed that everybody should know the same thing universally. Because we all have to learn. So then it was designed so that everybody should learn the same thing in the same way for the same amount of time. There's that rhythm and pattern again. So now you have the banking, you have the educational, right? What other systems are there? Now let's look at religion. Again, it is a pattern. You learned which God to serve. Why? Wherever you grew up. But you notice when you became an adult, you decided, that might not be for me. And so what did you do? Found something else. But you found something else to serve, did you not? Why? Because the principle. What I'm trying to show you here is every single system has been set up to draw your attention outside of yourself. Every system. Every system has been designed to draw your attention outside of yourself. But if you know that a system is just following a pattern, because it must, well, then you can choose how you want to behave in that system instead of going along with what is the status quo. Why am I telling you this? I'm telling it to you today because I want you to realize what you are capable of. What are you capable of? You won't know till you apply yourself. How does one apply themselves? You know that it is law of correspondence, as within, so without. What you think is how you will feel. That is an emotion. We have these bodies, we need the feedback mechanism, right? So we'll have the emotions to accompany. It's inevitable that you have an emotion. But where you get the choice, how do you want to behave with that emotion? This is what forms your discipline. Look at the people who have incredibly high credit scores. They're very disciplined. Oh, yeah, they pay their bills on time and they follow every nuance in order to sustain that score. So you see, we go to church, we're disciplined in that, in the going. We go to school, we're disciplined in the going. Because why? You are judged on it. See, your academic record, allegedly, gives a snapshot of your behavior, of your discipline. Do you see? So everything that you see, that you experience externally, has been designed by way of law, and it cannot be designed any other way. So if you want to hack or come out of a system, you are going to have to develop your own mental system, which is discipline. Meaning, what will you do? How will you think? How will you behave? But if you notice, it is all mental. Look at every single system that is out into the world. I mean, listen, we call it society, right? That's what we call it, society. But if you look at society, what does it consist of? The collective of how people see themselves. It is the mental collective. So do not feel like you are somehow powerless because you are in a system. If you recognize that you are in a system, now you're powerful. Why? Because you can change the way you behave in it. And the way you behave is highly dependent upon the way you think about yourself. Look at every system that is out there. What does it do? It influences the way you what? Think about yourself. If you encounter people with a quote unquote lower credit score, what's that tell you? See? It gives you a snapshot of their quote unquote spending behavior. Why would they spend in such a fashion? All because of the way they think. All because of the way they think. So when you hear that number that Black women spend the most money on hair care products, what does that tell you when you hear the figure? That's what they think of their hair. What are they spending that what's the type of product they're spending it on? If you watch a man or woman, you will learn their habit. So if you constantly hear they're the biggest consumer, why? Where's the mentality? It goes now when you go to the Asian communities and you watch their behavior, they're more what? Family oriented and education oriented and blah, blah, blah. Very strict, very disciplined. Why? Mentality. Do not get it twisted. It will never be anything other than mental, because the universe is a mental creation. Everything we do is based upon what you say I am is. And that's why it doesn't matter whatever system you are in, the way you behave in the system will show you who you are. This is why if you modify the system, you can modify the behavior of the people in the system. I'm as you say in Barbados, I'm pussyfooting around the issue. So if you have ears to hear, I want you to hear. Whatever the system is that has been designed has one focus, just one, because it is the only focus it can have. Every system is designed to do what? Influence the mentality. Why? Because the mentality is the dictator of behavior. That is why. So if you walk around with the hurt, again, I'm going to say to you, it's not because what happened to you isn't valid. It is valid. You did suffer it. But if you continue to walk under the umbrella of the suffering, the only thing that you can do is to recreate the suffering. So what do you want? Do you want to be free of the suffering? Here's how you do it. Recognize where the pain is, and also recognize that it's just part and parcel of the system. It happened as a result of the system. So if you had drug addicted parents, you think somebody gets up and just says, "Oh, I'm gonna do crack today because I want to. I'm gonna do meth today because I want to." No. The mentality has been influenced in such a way that that was the choice they made. So if you can see that the mentality is the root, then modify your mentality. And how do you modify your mentality? That all comes down to when you look in the mirror and you say, you know, I gotta try hard. I'm not good enough. This person's better than me. Whoa, whoa, whoa. How does that cause you to behave? Now, it can cause, depending on the person, it can cause them to either overachieve or underachieve. Which one are you? Or are you just average? This is why I'm saying to you, recognize what your mentality is. Don't judge it. When you recognize your mentality, do not judge it. It's not meant to be judged. It is meant for you to examine, look at it, and say, is this worthy? Is this the foundation that I want to build my life upon? This is why they tell you a particular family that started out in poverty, they'll always be impoverished because the mentality doesn't change. The mentality doesn't change. Just like the wealthy ones, they have a different mentality. So that's why I say don't judge your mentality. Do not look at what you call, oh my God, that's my shortcomings. That, that's not what it's there to show you, okay? it's, it's not there to show you where you think you're worse than somebody else. That's not what it's there to show you. It's there to show you a mirror image of yourself so that you can decide, is that mentality the foundation I want to build my life upon? And if it is not, then pull a Shakespeare. Shakespeare says, assume a virtue if you have it not. So if you don't have confidence, assume that you do. Start to see yourself with confidence. Because the moment you start seeing yourself with confidence in your mind's eye, your behavior changes to match what you see in your mind's eye. Is that not how you're living now? So this is what I'm saying to you. It goes with everything. If you look at the medical system, same thing. What are we told in the medical system? You got to find somebody to help you, girl. You can't do that yourself. Yet the placebo effect clearly shows you that you can. Ooh, well, hallelujah, honey. Right? The placebo and the nocebo effect clearly show you that you can. The placebo effect, you believe that you're cured, so you are. The nocebo effect means you believe in your fatal diagnosis, therefore you succumb. What's the common denominator? What you believe to be true. And what you believe to be true, this boy, what you believe to be true falls under your mentality. The universe is a mental creation. It doesn't mean that you ignore your humanity. It means you take control of your humanity. So this is why Neville Goddard can tell you about the law of assumption. Assume a virtue if you have it not. And how do you assume it? See it in your mind's eye. See it in your mind's eye, and you don't have a choice but to become it. Seriously, once you have chosen what it is, you become it. Unless, of course, you change the choice. You see? So, again, it doesn't matter what system you want to look at, educational, medical, judicial, religious. It does not matter what system you want to look at. It all comes down to the fact that every system is there to influence your mentality, because it is the only thing that counts is the mentality, because that is the foundation upon which you build your life. So if the foundation stone is, oh my God, I'm totally such a loser. Now, how do you think you'll go through life? How do you think you'll spend money? Hmm? How do you think you'll spend money if you think you're the loser? Well, you are going to want to fit in because you want to be accepted. So you will go out there and you will spend the money to fit in. I'm not coming for you this morning. I really am not. What I'm saying to you is every single thing that you and I do, we do because of the way we feel about ourselves and believe ourselves to be. And Nugs, if you are ready for your change, point yourself in the direction of your change. Because you can clearly see what you don't want to be. So in your mind's eye, see what you want to be and begin to act it out in your mind's eye. Begin to rehearse your lines in your mind's eye. That's what you do to change. Begin to see who you want to be in your mind's eye. Right now, it's invisible to the external world. But so long as you keep it and you breathe life into it inside of your mind's eye, you have to give birth to it because that is the law. As within, so without. Remember, above is within. Below is on the outside, without. As within, so without, as above, so below. So when you make the declaration of I am ready, begin to see in your mind's eye what you are ready to do. And when you start seeing it in your mind's eye, your body will correspond. As within, so without. Your body will begin to take note of what is changing mentally, physically. Why? Because the mental is invisible. But we are both invisible and visible. So you have to see the evidence of both. So if you maintain your mental attitude to see in your mind's eye and act out in your mind's eye who you say you now are, don't ask how long it's going to take, because I can't tell you how long it takes. All I can tell you is the more time you spend in that place, in your mind's eye, acting out who you want to be, the very love of it slows time. It slows the perception of time, or it speeds up the perception of time, so that you will experience it on the outside. So we don't go within so we can decide how fast we move to the outside. You go within because it is the only way to show yourself outside. Not how fast, but the inevitability. So when you catch yourself judging yourself and beating yourself up, when you catch yourself doing that, you say, whoa, wait a minute, that's how I see myself. No, 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 no. Here's how I want to see myself. Catch it every single time. If you don't catch it, you will continue to be what you are. But when you catch it and you redirect or point yourself to where you say you want your change to be, your body will start to register and say, I feel you. I get it. I'm picking up what you're laying down. I see the direction we're going in. And it'll take over for you. And you will fall into what? A rhythm that you created. See, that's what it is. See? Yes. This is what I'm saying to you today. So when you go out into the world and you mingle with everybody and you want to complain about the system, don't. You know why not? Because now you see what the system is. The system is there to influence the mentality. Because if you influence the mentality, you now influence the populace, you can make them do what you want. So, who's in charge of your mentality now? You or somebody else? Every time you judge yourself, you are giving away your power. Every single time you judge yourself in the non productive, right? Every time you complain and say, oh my God, I'm not good enough, I'm not this, I'm not that, you give away yourself. Now remember what scripture says. I lay it down. I lay my life down, all right, pick it up. You, not anybody else. You are so right, Brandon. When you find the silence, that's the creative moment. I know you're saying that's the creative moment for you, but you're absolutely correct. You see, we think that if we sit still, we're somehow lazy. Oh, I gotta be moving, I gotta be doing something, I gotta be productive, blah, blah, blah. Hey, if you don't spend time in the silence, how do you know where to be productive? The silence is not silent because it is empty. The silence is the silence because that's where you hear, see, and encounter yourself. Where did I read that quote where somebody said humanity has the hardest time just sitting with themselves? That's what everybody's trying to run away from, the silence. But if you would run towards the silence, you would learn about yourself. And then you would act accordingly to self, not according to system. Of course, you're going to function in it. You still got to spend money or invest money, right? Still got to eat. But now what you do in the system will not be influenced by the system. It'll be influenced by you. Ooh, nugs, honey, you hit it right there. You are the thinker and the doer. Because there's only one, so you have to be both of those things. But there's, you see, it gives the illusion of duality, thinker and doer. It looks like there's two things, but there's only one. The thinker has to be the doer because there is only one. There's only one person. So I have to think and then I have to do what I think. Only one, not two. That's why I love how you said it. This is, I, I trust that it makes sense what I said to you today. Like I said, I just really pussyfooted around the issue because I, for one, I don't want to rile you up. That's not the intent. I don't want to rile you up to do external. I want to penetrate you so you do internal, which means whenever you come upon a system, look at it, look at its pattern. Now, how do you feel about that pattern is how you will behave inside the pattern. This is what I'm trying to tell you. So it is up to you now to decide upon your own pattern. Who do you want to be? Who do you say I am? Well, then choose this day, as scripture tells you, who you will serve. Self or external? And you have to know the external only appears because of self. Let us take a brief moment to welcome everybody into the space this morning. Let's do this. Um, Wealthy Supreme Rico, hey. Hey, kitty. Sugar Visions, Wisdom Almighty. Nugs. Hello, dearest. Now, I've never said your name before, so welcome. Brandon, welcome, dear darling. Um, Get Linked Social TV. You couldn't find me on Fanbase? Come on. I'm there. Hey, Cyber. Ray of Sunshine is in the house. Hey. Nugs, listen, you are more than welcome. Who's on Fanbase this morning? We have Rena Rose. Ray of Sunshine, honey. I am loving your garage for you too, honey. I sure am. And we have Dua. Hey, Dua. In my island. Listen, I hope you fine because I know you guys are on lockdown because of Hurricane Beryl. So I'm hoping you safe, right?
Yeah, all is well. No major damage, major flooding in my area. And actually, yesterday when I woke up, there was a bunch of mangoes that I had off. So I was blessed with some manna from heaven and provisions. So I'm grateful. Peace to the room.
There you go. I'm glad to hear it. Glad to hear it, Dua. We have Baba Bunatu. Hey, stranger. KZ, it's good to see you. Honesty, is that you? Yes. Joaquin, you know we've missed you. Hello, Moon. Miss Crenshaw, Miss McQueen, Fawn, Flo Smiles, Oracle, Treehouse. And you know we can't forget a little bit. He's here too. All of his ruckus. He is here in the house a little bit. Look, he's in the closet in the house. So today, as you go out and about in the world, whether you are going to a restaurant, whether you go to the doctor, whether you go to school or college, whether you go to work, whether you go to the ATM, recognize that they are all systems that have a singular focus. To do what? Influence the way you think about and feel about yourself. Because the way you think and feel is the way you will behave. You don't get a choice in the behavior. Once you have selected how you think and feel, the behavior has to correspond. It has to match because you can only reap what you have sown. So look at any of those systems and check yourself. Right? I know we want to chomp at the bit and go, but that is so corrupt. Yeah, but now how are you going to act? You're going to act from a place of injustice. And what's that place of injustice? I keep telling you, the way to do it is to go within. You reshape what is on the outside by changing what is within. Neville Goddard put it much more poetically. He said, you cannot break the mirror to change your face. What does that mean? It means you're looking in the mirror. If you got spinach in your teeth, busting the mirror is not going to get rid of the spinach in your teeth, man. You got to get some floss and get the spinach out of your teeth so that when you look in the mirror, the spinach is gone. So leave the world alone and change your perception. See who you want to be in the world. And the world will mold and shape itself to match you. It has to. It doesn't have a choice. This is the part that I'm trying to tell you. There is no, once you choose, Neville says, once you choose your mental state is your mood, the way you feel and think about yourself. That's the thing that dictates your behavior. So if you can tell that part, that the mood you are in dictates your behavior, Well, then look at the mood you go into when you encounter a particular system. If you got to go to the bank to get a loan and you just, ugh, and you're persnickety about it, right? How are you going to act? Hmm? Change your perception. Changing your perception means change the way you look at things. Wayne Dyer said it. Change the way you look at things, and the things you look at will change. Simple yet profound. But what does it mean? It means you already have an image in your mind of how this thing is. So to change your perception, change the way you see it. See it the way you want to see it. Not the way that it is. See it the way you want to see it. So if you're a C student and you want to be an A student, how would you feel as an A student? How would your parents respond to you being an A student? How would your teacher respond to you being an A student? Begin to feel that and see it in your mind's eye. And then you will find you remember better. You have more of an appetite to study. Why? Because that is the natural progression of an A student. They study, they retain, they know how to regurgitate the information. Their memory is on point. So if you assume you are an A student, you don't have a choice in studying. You will have a desire to study, and so you will. It'll come out of nowhere. The first thing you'll say to yourself, oh my goodness, I feel the need to study. This is exciting. I get to learn something new. And you'd be like, wait a minute, is this Invasion of the Body Snatchers? Because I never used to study before. I never used to like studying. I never even used to remember what I studied. And I was always so frustrated. But look at me now. If you assume you if you assume you're an A student, your behavior will match. Not because you force it, but because you assumed that you were. So take it from A student now to whatever it is. Assume that you have that. Assume that you are that, and your behavior will correspond. Right? Indeed. Yeah, a little bit. I'm not deaf, honey, but I might be because you loud. And so moon, you're right. So history repeats itself, but you choose which part of history you want to follow. And that's exactly what revision is. When you encounter something and you say, I used to do it that way, but I don't want to anymore. What are you going to do? Revise the way you used to do it. And why is he louder? Because he's right behind the door. He made his way to the back of that door. So now, when I open the door, I gotta wait till he moves. I digress. So you see, revision happens naturally. Revision is telling you, you hear something, but it's not quite what you want to hear. But what do you want to hear? You want to hear approved? You want to hear congratulations? You want to hear promoted? What do you want to hear? But you see, when you start hearing it and you start seeing it, the body responds. Because think about it. You start remembering who pissed you off. How does the body respond? Are they pissing you off now? No, you just remembering. But the body responds because that is what it must do. It must correspond with who you say that you are. So that's why judge not, lest ye be judged. If you walk around with the judgment within, you must experience judgment on the outside. So don't judge it. Look at what it is telling you. It's showing you, hey, do you want to change this or do you want to carry on? So I'm trusting today that you're hearing, not because your ears work 100%, but because you comprehend. But not only do you comprehend, you will now apply. Because you see the evidence of it. You see the evidence of your behavior. You get that thought, and then your body completely responds to it. And you're like, oh my God, I can't shake this. I can't fight this feeling. And then you give in because you don't have a choice. You selected it. But how? Instead of giving into what you don't want, select the behavior you do want and then give into that, because you're going to have to submit either way. So submit to what you choose to submit to instead of submitting to what you are forced to submit to because you did not deliberately make the choice. You allowed the past to make the choice for you. Anywho, you know how I get. You know how I get. So I'm going to chill out now and I'm going to get the bowl. When you hear the bowl and bird song this morning, who do you now say that you are? Remember when Jesus was talking to the disciples and Jesus asked them, hey, who does the world say I am? And they start to tell him all these things. Well, John the Baptist, you're this preacher come back, you're this person. But then he got real serious and he looked them in the eye and he said, but who do you say I am? So who do you say that you are? Oh, I'm the least of the least. Well, this is how it's always been in my family. Well, God willing, that's just my lot in life. That's the hand I was dealt. Is that you? Is that who you want to be? Don't judge it, honey. If that's not who you want to be anymore, but then just say, yes, Brandon, in my Father's house there are many mansions. If it were not, I would not have told you. But that where I am, there ye may be also. Listen to it again. Where I am, we're going to put another little simple word in there. Where I am is I need to be. Where I am is where I'm going to be. What does that mean? It means the law of correspondence. As you think and feel, so shall you be. That's the mansion you will occupy because that's who you say I am is. So this morning when you hear the Bowl and Bird song, who are you? Who are you? Who, right? Who are you? Well then, begin to see it in your mind's eye. And as you see it, you will feel it. And then as you feel it, you will know it to be true. And then you know it to be true. Well, as within, so without. But you see that key thing in there? You'll know it. Just the same way you know that George pisses you off and you think of George, you know that for a fact, don't you? Well, then you need to know with the same knowing who you say you are. And that's why you rehearse it. Remember the lecture last night. Are you acting? If that phone rings, are you going to rationalize? Or are you going to get inside your mind's eye and see who you are, feel who you are, be who you are, and act it out? What does he say? Experience in imagination what you would experience in reality if you were the man or the woman you want to be. You know the example for that. If you dread going to work, why? There's somebody there that you don't like or that they don't like you. But every time you're on your way to work, you have an altercation in your mind's eye. What are you doing? Acting in your imagination as you would act in reality when you get to work. So don't tell me, I don't know how to do it. We are already doing it because it is the only thing we can do. So choose, as you hear the Bowl and Bird song, who you will be. And you do not let go. You be like Jacob with the angel, because that's exactly what that story means. Jacob represents tenacity. It is the state of tenacity, stubbornness, if you will. What did he say? I will not let you go until you bless me. What does that mean? It means you persisted in the imaginal act. You persisted in it. That's what it means to be Jacob. Not that he's some man, but I digress. I told you, now I'm sweating. Let me get the bowl. Who do you say you are? See it, feel it, know it to be true. And you will reap what you have sown. Lord have mercy. Y'all got me. Oh, well, you're new, Majin. You are new to me. Trust me, I ain't never said your name before. Welcome, Majin. Let's get the bull. Who are you this morning? Look in the mirror. I am. ... Whatever that is. See it. Feel it. Know it. And what do you know? As within, so without. As you see yourself to be, as you know yourself to be inside, it is what you must be on the outside. Countdown initiated. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Thank you all for being here on this lovely Tuesday. I just had to remind myself that it was Tuesday, not Monday. Oh, long weekends are brutal. They mess with your clock, man. Anywho, thank you all for being here. I want to make sure that I have not missed uh, any questions or anything. Yes, Miss Crenshaw, I am. That is the blueprint for anything. I am. So, um, the encouragement is, even though you feel like I can't do this or this is too hard. Listen, it is natural to feel that way. It is so natural to feel that way and to be agitated and upset. It is natural, and it's totally okay to feel that way. It is. But you know you don't want to stay in that place. So you get up and you do step one. What do I want? Or as Neville says, what is your objective? Isn't that from Wally? When no, she asked him, she says, directive, like what is your role, what's your task, right? So what is it that you want to do? What is your objective? What is it that you want to accomplish? Know that. Step two, act it out. So experience in imagination what you would experience in reality if you were the man or the woman you wanted to be. And step three, every night before you go to bed, act it out. As soon as you open your eyes in the morning, act it out. You feel like doing it during the day? Go ahead and pop a one in there for lunch. Do it. Because what you're doing is you're showing yourself who you are. That's what you're doing. Showing yourself who you say I am is. And anytime you feel discouraged, go through those steps again. Why? Because then you are moving from that state of woe is me to the state of I am. That's what you're doing. You're moving from that state of to I am. Yes, I can. Nutty professor, but I digress. Right? That's what you're doing. And the moment you start doing it, you will feel better right away. And you will reinvigorate yourself, or as Neville says, mentally impregnate yourself with who you say you are over and over again until you know it to be true. That's what you do over and because that is what you are already doing. I'm not telling you anything you don't know. You do know what you're doing on a daily basis because you're the one with that same inner conversation, are you not? Mm-hmm. Oh my God, I can't believe this. I can't believe she would do this. I can't believe he would do this. I can't believe they would treat me this way. You're having what? You are acting that shit out in your mind's eye. And you know, with however much passion you act it out, well, you're going to see it outside. And you're going to have the interaction. So, anywho, Nugs, is it Wednesday for you? Where are you?
I'm in Los Angeles.
Wow. See? I love these different time zones and you meet so many different people. I know there's Germany. I know there's France. Where else? I know there's Barbados. Um, and I do know that there is Italy as well. Uh, yeah, like it's really, really incredible to connect with so many different people, on so many levels. And it's just awesome. And so I'm not going to keep you I want you to know that I love you and I appreciate each and every single one of you every day, all day. And I'm excited. Are you knocking? Itty bitty. He is knocking because he's moving. He hops. So he's going to hit the door with that other leg because he's hopping. This bird. There's never a dull moment with my rooster, okay? Like, ever. Ah, anywho, I love you guys. I'll see you tonight. I don't know what the lecture is. I don't know what the bedtime lecture is. I don't know. I haven't chosen it yet. When I get there, I'll get there. But it'll be there 10:45 p.m. if Eastern Standard Time. If you're still awake, we fall asleep to that. The state of the wish fulfilled, right? Anywho, last night's lecture was fire, man. What? If you didn't hear it, it's called uh Moving Up to Jerusalem. Is that what it is? Yeah, I think that's what it is. And so if you weren't there, go check it out. The replay is in my YouTube. Um, Moving Up to Jerusalem, something along those lines, but it has Jerusalem in it. Oh, I tell you, it riled me up, but it felt good. Parting is such sweet sorrow. Oh, just going on 1 a.m. for you. Wow. See, that's what it is. Anywho, make sure and visit me at my website, positivelyangela.com. I do have some cool blogs that I have, and I'll post another blog today. And I try not to do too much on there as far as bombard people with things, but I do the blog. And if you sign up with your email, you'll get that blog, and it keeps us focused. Yeah, I try and do it once a week, the blog. But there's many things on there on my website, or my LINKTREE, whichever. So you can always communicate with me if you have any questions. If you want to be part of the testimonials that's coming up, let me know. And if you were part of the workshop that happened on June the 27th, what day am I on? I'm on day 6. So if you were part of that workshop, what have you noticed?
On day 3.
You're on day 3. Nice. Did you notice anything?
Money is my main one right now.
Right. But what else did you notice? Did anything change once you started paying attention?
When it comes up now, I try to okay, I can change it. I start thinking about that first law, okay, I can change this. It doesn't have to. I don't have to keep thinking it starts. So I am catching myself like that.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm like,
well, when you catch yourself, go through the 3 steps, right? Go through the 3 steps. That's what you do when you catch yourself. Because at the end of the night, when I go through my list, I've noticed, because mine was money as well. But by day 4, it was less. It was less. Because I'm like, oh my God. Because now what I ended up doing was going through the steps every single time. I would catch it, I'd jot it. And then at the end of the night, when you do your revision, on the back of that paper, I would simply write what it is that I wanted to experience in imagination. And that's how I would fall asleep, going through those 3 steps.
hey, Andrew.
Yeah. Moon? Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, it's also very, very important to be detailed as possible when you're going through these steps. Because I found out firsthand yesterday morning, right? I needed some money myself, and I was like, all right, I need to figure out how I'm gonna get money today, and it's not a question. I got to figure out how I'm gonna do it today. The whole day goes by, and I end up getting money in the evening. I'm like, all right, cool. But dang, man, it was supposed to be on like Zelle or Cash App or something. That ain't cash. I can't do nothing with cash now. I'm like, damn, I should have been more descriptive and more detailed. I should have got money, digitally. So that's just the thing. It's all about the details, because I went into it thinking and saying, we got to get money. We got to get money. And then once I got the money, I'm looking at a whole different situation now. Like, oh crap, I should have used the details before then, because then that could have saved me some time now.
Hey, yeah. I'm not sure if it's helpful, but that something similar like that happened to me. And so you can always go to Publix or go to a grocery store and put it on gift cards so that it's digital.
Oh, that's real cool. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I had to end up going to like a family member and being like, hey man, I got this cash for you. Could you, send me the rest? I mean, send me it on Zelle. But I appreciate that, that's definitely useful.
Wow. See, so when you're experiencing in imagination what you would naturally do, naturally you wouldn't do cash. Naturally you would see, for me, I see the little W for our app here, because we don't have Zelle, we don't have Cash App, we have Wealth Simple. So because we're Canadian, right? You gotta be different. So when I'm looking at things like that, I see what I would naturally see, which would be me and that symbol, because that symbol implies that that's where I had to go in my app. So you see it in the app, right? Experience in imagination what you would experience in reality. So naturally, if you would go to Zelle on your app, then when you think of money, associate those two things so that you see it in your mind's eye, and that's what you would, because you'd have to open up the app. So when you say details, you are absolutely correct, because it is what you would do naturally. That's where you would go naturally, in the app, right? So yeah, thank you for sharing that, Moon. That's awesome sauce. Totally awesome. Um, just making sure I'm catching everybody. Yeah. So today,
can I share a story right quick?
Yes, you girl, I love you. Come on, speak it.
I keep ending up with, I'm like the opposite. Like, I keep ending up with digital money that I can see, but it gets held up, so I can't touch it. Like, it's always something technical. So I wanted to see money in my bank account. I can see it, but I can't touch it.
I hear that. So then that means when you associate the money, you associate it with some kind of a delay. So now instead of that, see yourself. So if you would tap your card, or if you would tap your phone, or see yourself doing that, because it means now that you're doing it as it's happening. Do you know what I mean? Not just in you want to see it as you are using it. So use it in your experience, using the money in your imagination, the way you would use it in reality. So if you would, I said, like, you would tap your card, or you tap your phone, or you would do a transfer, or whatever you would, however you would naturally use that money, experience it in your imagination the exact same way you would do it in reality. That's why I memorized that phrase. Experience in imagination what you would experience in reality. Period. So if however you want to experience it in reality, act it out in imagination. If you want a bouquet of flowers, how would you do that in reality? How would you accept those flowers in reality? What would they smell like? Experience in imagination what you would experience in reality. As within, so without. That's what it means to get specific. The same way you're going to act in real life. This is why when Neville says it takes on the tones of reality. It's natural. So what would you do? What is your nuance? Right? So experience it the way you want to. So act it out in your imagination, because that's exactly how you're going to act it out in reality. Does that make more sense?
Yes.
All right.
And I actually don't want to pull it out as cash. I do want to transfer it to an investment. So,
well,
yeah.
See? So
I didn't see it all the way through. Yeah.
So then, when you see it now, see yourself completing the transaction for your investment. You see, this is why Neville says go to the end. The end. The end means, what did you do? So that means you invested. Do you see the stock? Do you see the thingy that says done? I know for us, when you do it, it says done and the phone vibrates a little bit. So if you see that part, which means you've done it. Experience in imagination what you would experience in reality. That's how you go to the end instead of stopping in the middle.
Also there's a very, very amazing company out here called Fidelity. It's who I actually bank with, and that is super, super duper amazing. And let me tell you why. So once I got to the age where I understood financial literacy, I understood that banks are actually for transactions. They're an institution for transactions. So if you're looking for an institution for investments, Fidelity offers that. And it's so amazing because they also offer accounts where you could have direct deposit and debit cards associated with different accounts. So under your one account, you could have many different accounts. I have mine set up specifically where I get a direct deposit to one account, and then as soon as that happens, I'm able to allocate a specific amount. There's no minimum, but I'm able to allocate that to the investment portfolio. It's all in the same brokerage, and it's all in the same app, and it's so easy to use. It's like almost like it's as easy as making a sandwich. So that's what I love about this. So you're able to allocate however much you want from your direct deposits to your investment portfolio, and then whatever you have left, you can allocate that to your debit card account, and whatever you want to allocate to any other savings accounts or future investment accounts or future planning accounts, future savings funds. If you can think of it, you can create an account for it for free and just allocate the money there as you please. And Fidelity also offers here and there, they also offer promotions, $50 for every account you open.
Oh.
For existing members. Accounts. They definitely do. Yeah, of course. Yeah, definitely do. It's called Fidelity. It's an amazing company. Like, when I say amazing, I've been using them for years, and man, it's a company that I stand by.
Nice.
And they're so user friendly. Like, you could call them any time of the day, any time of the night, like 3 a.m, and you'll speak to a real person. And I sound like a sales representative or something, but it sounds crazy. But it's like you'll always get the best service, bro. So I love them. Check it out. It's free to sign up. You don't need anything to sign up. You just open an account and get familiar with it. It's better if you be on the phone with them while you open the account, so you can open the correct account as your first time, and then as you get familiar with it, open your preferred accounts and the accounts that you would like to create. I have a total of 7 accounts on Fidelity. So, and I use them all, and it's because it's just that amazing. Check it out.
Thanks, Mom.
I like that, because now when you are doing what you need to do in imagination, you can see what it is you're doing, because you can see the logo, If memory serves me correctly, there's an F and it's green, correct?
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
Then I know Fidelity. Yep, because I've seen the logo. You see what I'm saying? All he had to say was
I
the
saw
name.
the logo as soon as he said it.
Exactly my point. So now when you're doing whatever you want to do, if you use that, you can see the logo and the transaction being completed through the logo. That's because it's what you would use. What you would use naturally, right? So that's what I love about it. Go ahead, Delight.
No, it's Oracle. I wanted to ask the Lord, does you have a link so you can get your credits? Because like you said, you talking like a representative, and I know they have it where like if you sign up, they have a
Yeah, I know
link.
what you're talking about. And
You have to say the way you talk
fortunately and unfortunately, I don't know if they have that system set up or like a program like that where you can like refer a friend. But no, this is just off of like good reviews, like off of personal experience. Like, yo, this is an amazing thing. Like, I've banked with many different banks, from like TD Bank, Wells Fargo, Navy Federal, Chase, and it's like they all. I appreciate what they all offer, but it's nothing like having a brokerage that offers as everything the bank offers, and then a whole bunch more. It's like if I'm at a whim and I just think about saving and I want to set aside $15, I don't have to just set aside $15. No, I can actually put that into a stock that I see is performing pretty nicely and say, you know what, I'm going to set this aside in here. And you know what, whenever I'm ready to use it $15 again, I'm going to pull it out and hopefully it'll be more than $15, And it's just like with the proper education, it's exactly what the companies are doing. Whenever you sign up for the 401ks, they allocate a specific amount of the employee's money into an index fund. All an index fund is just a collection of stocks. But for me, I like to actually sit down and learn about the stocks that I'm investing into.
Yeah.
Because I like to create a dividend portfolio. So one thing I did was, with my investment portfolio, I created it as a dividend portfolio. So every week, the dividends are transferred to the debit card account. So it's like just, a couple, cents here and there just to help me fight inflation. And as compound interest works, the more money I invest, that will in return, build up my dividends, which is coming into my debit card account. And that's essentially what you want to do, have as much money coming into your debit card account without having to work for it. And that's my goal.
Do you see the law in that right now? You think we're talking about banking, but look at the law. Always invest. And what do you...
The law of compound interest.
Yeah. Yeah. Always look at the law and you'll see exactly what you're doing when you're banking. It's like, just like when you said dividends, you want to do the thing that gives the greatest return, which means it gives life to you. So whatever it is you're thinking about, is it giving you a return? Is it giving you a dividend return? Does it inspire you to do more, to be more? That's the whole point. You look at those things. So now remember Neville, because his wife had the dream about investing versus spending. And that's why Neville taught, invest. Always invest. Make your thoughts an investment, as opposed to when you complain, you are spending. There's nothing that comes back for you out of that will fuel your life. But if you invest in the types of thoughts and the types of feelings and the types of emotions and the types of behaviors that you do, well, now you're getting a return. See, everything is built on the law, whether you think it is banking and you have dividends, and how they call it a DRIP, direct reinvestment program. When you do the reinvestment of your dividend, you can do that, or you could, like Moon said, transfer it to your debit, but you can reinvest it, right? So it is, when you experience in imagination what you would experience in reality. What you are doing there is you are reinvesting that energy into yourself. You're never taking from yourself and leaving yourself wanting. You're always giving yourself, and over it gives you. It always gives a return, because that's why you want dividends, because you're making money without effort. This is the whole point. When Neville says you don't have to lift a finger to make it so, he's telling you this is why when you are falling asleep, that is the most efficient time, because now you are not expending effort. You are focused without effort. You see, everything is designed to follow that law. It is effortless. You see, that's what life is. It's effortless. But you get what I'm saying to you this morning? You see, everything is designed by way of law. Absolutely everything is designed by way of law. Hello, Isis. Welcome to the space, dearest. But yeah, Isis is over here on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. I haven't closed anything yet. But I am so glad you shared that, because it helped on 2 different levels, 3 even, right? To get something into your mind's eye with a logo, because that is how you see how everything goes back to image, imagination. Do you hear what I'm saying to you? Everything forms an image. A feeling will form an image. A smell will form an image. Everything you do, all your senses will turn into an image, because that is what you will recreate, the image you hold of the thing in your mind's eye. So what do? Oh, we think that marketing 101 and building a logo is new. No, it's not. It follows the principles of creation. It follows the law. Create an image. And what will you do? As long as that image is associated with something good, well, good, bad, or indifferent, right? Then that image is associated with something. People remember that image. And when they remember that image, who do they think of first? You. So if you are in their mind, how will you behave? Well, that depends on how they treat you, right? How do they make you feel? Moon will go back. Why? Because he loves their customer service. So he will stay. Right? So every time he thinks of them or speaks of them, he will direct people to them. You see, a return on their investment is what they're doing, and it follows the principles. The image created creates what? Customers. And the way those customers come, well, then that's the way you'll treat them if they have a good policy, which clearly they do, right? So you see, nothing escapes law. I don't know about you, but I get excited to know that nothing escapes the law, because it is what it is. It may appear to be rigid, but it is the most flexible thing you'll encounter. It is flexible because you're the one who bends. It doesn't. You do. Because that's the point. You are the operant power. You're the one to change, not it. So you see, everything rests with you. You. Who do you say I am is? Right? That's the whole point. And we think marketing is some new fandangled thing. Listen, I didn't even know there was degrees in marketing you could get in school. And all they're teaching you is what? The law of mentalism. Who do people say you are when they see your logo? Who do people say you are when they see your logo? See how it works? Man, you guys, hey, Rone, listen. I'll just...
Hey, Angie, can I ask you this?
Yes?
Is there a law about, I don't know how to word this, but is there basically a law about, taking a step back, zooming out, or basically realizing where you're coming, or where you come from, or where you've been? Is there a law about that?
Rhythm, ebb and flow. See, when you take a step back, right? It's the ebb. You learn in the ebb, you regroup in the ebb, you change perspective in the ebb. And once you change perspective in the ebb, now you flow from there. Ebb and flow. It doesn't matter which one you choose. They're all going to be the same thing because the law is just the law. So you can use correspondence as well. You change what's inside, then the exterior will change. But ebb and flow is the most appropriate one based upon your question. Ebb and flow.
Oh, thank you so much. I'm familiar with that being called the pendulum law, but ebb and flow is definitely the same thing.
Yes, because you see, the movement of creation is it's a pendulum. It moves in a fashion. It creates the figure 8, the infinity symbol, because this is how it moves in a cursive, you understand? So the swing of the pendulum, when you hear rhythm, rhythm compensates. So however far you swing to the left is how far you have to come back to the right, because everything must correspond. You can't go 80% to the left and 60 to the right. It does not correspond then. It would be in breach of correspondence. So if you go 80, you got to come back 80. You go 100, you got to come back 100. As within, so without. You have to reap what you have sown. So this is why rhythm compensates. Make sense?
Oh yeah, thank you so much. Yeah, I've been aware of that, and it's just, like it's kind of like situations where you're naive until you know, and then once you know, once you start going through the things, and you're like, oh crap, yep, these are the laws and principles at work. So yeah, I definitely understand.
Yep. Yes, once you experience being deliberate with the law, you understand. That's what the eye opener is. That's why you practice, because it's one thing to just go along in life and the law is just there and you're being tossed to and fro by it because you don't have a choice but to follow it. But the difference is being deliberate to choose. Here is how you say, well, what effect do I want? If you can see the effect, the symbolism, if you can see it and experience it in imagination as you would in reality, well, then the cause will show up. You call the cause, because every cause has its effect. Every effect has its cause. So if you don't know the cause, but you know the effect, this is how you... Yes, honey, reversibility. I hear you. I was just about to say, it just picked the words out of my mouth. What's wrong with you? So now it's not that there's a law of reversibility. It's that you are reversing effect and cause. You are using the effect to bring about the cause. And if you know the cause, you will predict the effect because you can see it. Because it has a pattern. It has a rhythm. Because that's the law before. Rhythm, you understand? So this is what is beautiful about it, and having the experience with being deliberate to say, oh my God, that happened exactly the way I saw it in my mind. When you do that and you have that experience, you've changed. You set down a whole neurological pathway, a whole brand new neurological pathway in your brain when you did that, because you have to have the evidence, right? And your brain is the evidence. You do it, you thought about it. And then when the experience comes back, it's like, whoa, I did that. That experience forever changes you. And that's why you practice, so that you don't say things like, well, it would have happened anyway. Oh my God, what a coincidence. No, you will know that there are no coincidences. Because if there is an effect, there was a cause. So nothing happens randomly. It is all a pattern. Oh, you guys, I'm just loving it. Like, but when you apply it and you practice it on a daily basis, that is what will make the difference for you. So hearing about it will do nothing for you. But testing it out, and the way to test it out is to experience in imagination what you would experience in reality. That's what it is. So if your favorite ice cream is salted caramel and goat's milk, Hallelujah. Whew, I can feel my blood sugar rising already. If that is your favorite, the moment you stop and you think of it, your body says, ooh, we love that, don't we? But then where do you want to eat it? See yourself walking along as you're licking the cone. And because now you've engaged what? You've engaged gustation, taste. You've engaged taste, not just feeling, but taste. And then you can, if you're quite imaginative, you can hear the people as you're in line. And you feel the excitement of, ooh, yes, I'll have it in a waffle cone, please. 2 scoops and a liter to go. You see, you've engaged all your senses now. And so then you will be led along as what Neville calls a bridge of incidents, which just means you see the effect you're going to bring about the cause. And you step into the cause and you will end up with that ice cream. But see it in imagination the way you would do it in reality, what is natural to you. And that way you're not forcing and you're not trying to figure it out. What would you naturally do? You are the one who everything is based on. You're the one.
You know, that's big. And the one thing I also want to say about that is, what does that mean to experience it in your imagination as you would in reality? To the untrained eye, to the untrained, to the ones who don't know. And it's like simply that just means, what are your intentions?
Mm-hmm.
What are you purely intending to do?
Mm-hmm.
What are you purely intending to experience? Because I don't know about anyone else, but I can tell you from my firsthand experience, without having any understanding of the laws and how they work at all, without even having the knowledge of them, I know where my intentions were. I didn't know about having, how to experience it in imagination as I would in reality. I didn't know about that. But what I did know about is how to have the purest intentions. So I'm going through situations where someone's like, hey, bro, you're going through something and I never heard it going the way you're saying it's going to go. And I'm like, okay, well, I'll be the first one. I'm going to be okay because my intentions are pure.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. And that's the same thing. So I say that that's what that means. And maybe you could interpret it a little bit better, but that's how I interpret it. When you say experience and imagination as you would in reality, just how are you going to that with your intentions? Are they pure or what?
I hear exactly what you're saying. So like you say, let's expand on it a little bit more. Naturally, because I always give the example of, the cranky coworker, the ones we might not like or get along with. We're always having a conversation in our mind's eye. So if you're going to work and you know that it's their day off, you feel a sense of relief. You're like, whew, glad I don't have to work with them today. You're like, oh, I don't have to be around them today. So you feel good. But if you know they're going to be at work, what's the first thing that goes through? Oh, man, I got to go to work with her today. I can't stand her. She's this, she's that. If I see her, I'm going to tell her what I think. What did you just do? You just experienced something in your imagination. You selected the effect you wanted to have. So now when you get to work and that person is there, what choice do you think you have with the interaction? You just imagined it. So yes, you can link your intent to that. If your intention is to go to work and to be at peace with everybody, ain't nobody can come along and disrupt it because you did not imagine disruption. You did not imagine chaos. Your intention was peace. So yes, you've created you've selected the effect, or in other words, you've chosen the state or the mental mood you want to go to work in. So when you get to work, because you've already chosen it, you will have to act out what you've chosen. So that's what I mean when I say we are always doing it, because we're always the ones sitting in the corner and we're having a conversation in our minds about this person. or that person, what this person said, what that person, and then we say, oh my God, I should have said that. Next time it happens, I'm gonna say this. And what are you doing? Rehearsing in imagination what you would experience in reality. That's what you're doing. Your intent is to have an argument. Your intent is to be right. Your intent is to be confrontational. So you don't have a choice but to be it. So that's exactly, you're exactly correct, Moon. I trust that makes sense. Right?
Oh yeah, thank you so much. I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Mm.
And it's just like, it's important, man. It's like, even if you don't have an understanding on where to begin on how the laws work, just at least you can understand on how your intentions work. And as long as those are pure, everything else will follow behind it purely in the way it's supposed to.
Yes. Now here's something. I'm not going to say any names, but I will just read this here, and I will say this because this is what's happening right now. If I must be cautious. I must be cautious because I will always give respect where it is due. This is my disclaimer here. If you require assistance in getting off of a substance, seek professional help so that your body can be safe. Okay? That is step 1. Step 2, how you're going to apply the law in this situation. Moon, you just said you may not know, but here's the thing. If you know you want to be sober, that is your starting point. So today, if you know that you are seeking sobriety, okay, first of all, we have to do the science. The body has been dependent upon a particular thing for so long, habitually, that if you just take it away, you can harm the body. So don't do that. That's why I say get the professional help so you can be monitored, so that if you need to be resuscitated, you can be. Okay? That's where I'm coming from. But how you can help yourself through this process. You want sobriety. If you were sober, who's the first person that would congratulate you? Who is the first person that would hold you and say, oh God, I am so happy for you? Do you have one of those in your life? If you don't, then what is the first thing you would do if you were sober? Well, the first thing you would do is tell somebody. You would do a dance if you were. So start there. Begin to see in your imagination yourself as sober. So that now when you go for your help, wherever you're going to get it, you have the image in mind. Your body's going to do what it needs to do to detox. But the image you have in your mind will see you through the detox. It will give you an anchor to which you tether yourself to not give up. Listen, I've never detoxed because I've never been addicted to something. So I cannot tell you what that's going to feel like other than what I've seen in Hollywood. You know how they show you in the movies. It may not be an easy road for detox, but what will make it easier for you is that person congratulating you on your sobriety. When you make a video or you make a post and you say, I have been this many days, this many years, this many months sober, and all of those people are in the comments and they're saying, congratulations, good for you. I remember when I struggled, so I know you were champion to overcome. That is what will help you and pull you through to maintain your sobriety. Seeing it and feeling it and experiencing it in your imagination. You see, imagination is not something that is far-fetched. It's not this thing that is out there. It is you. It is you seeing yourself how you want to be sober. Does this make sense? Because I know you're here. right? So it's just whatever external help you need to make sure the body stays healthy and alive, do that. But internally, anchor yourself to the image of your sobriety, being able to walk anywhere, go anywhere, having the ability to stand in front of a group and say, listen, I know where you're at. I was there. Here's how I made it through. You see, using your testimony, how you want to help other people, because that will help you. It will help you to stay the course in your sobriety. You see, if they tell you if you don't have support, you tend to fall backwards, right? If you feel like you're alone, they tell you that you tend to fall backwards. But here you are creating your own support network now, internally. If you need those people to come along and be there to congratulate you, see them and hear them in your mind's eye. And they will be there. They will come from wherever they need to come from. They may be people you know, they may be strangers. That is irrelevant. They will be there to throw confetti and congratulate you. Hold fast to that. Because you want to be sober. That's where you begin. Then claim and accept your sobriety. You see, people sometimes, this is why I tell you don't judge, right? Don't judge. You don't know why anybody does anything. They know why they did it, because they had to cope, right? This is why you have to understand what people are going through. And you have to understand that it is mental. Because nobody gets up and says, I want to be addicted to something. They don't. They just found it as a way to cope with whatever they were dealing with. That's why we don't judge. We love. Anybody who wants to change. And now hear this part. It does not matter how many times you fall backwards. Get up. Because remember, the addiction is simply a habit. You did the same thing the same way every time. Sobriety is also a habit. Do you hear? Sobriety is also a habit. So be encouraged to know that you've got this. You can do it. You see, take away that judgment right now. That is a judgment. Mental illness. No, that is a judgment. It is simply a habit. It is not a mental illness. Because mental illness would imply there's something wrong with you mentally. No, you just used whatever thing it is you're using to cope with your life. That's what you did. There's no shame in that. We all have things we do. Some of us bite our nails. Some of us suck our fingers. Some of us pull out our hair. We do what we do. There's no shame in what one does. There's no guilt in what one does. But there is an acknowledgement of what it is. So it is not a mental illness. It was a coping mechanism. Period. It was a coping mechanism. But now you don't want to cope anymore. You want to thrive in life. So now you need to develop a new coping mechanism. That's what you're doing. Take away the stigma, take away the judgment, take away the guilt, because they blind the eye and they put stumbling blocks in your way. Sobriety is yours. Accept it. See it. The moment you see it in your mind's eye, that is your acceptance of your sobriety. Accept it and say thank you. And the moment you accept it, you will find that you will do certain things that confirm your sobriety. You will. You won't have a choice. Because you've chosen sobriety, you now have to do the things that will imply your sobriety. Detox, whatever meetings you need to go through, all of those things will show up in your world to facilitate and to show you that, yes, this is the choice you made. You chose sobriety. And that is exactly it. You're just playing a song you don't like. Exactly. So play a different song. You see, when you can put it into that bite-sized perspective, it is, Mm, I, I love you. You can do this. Accept it, yes. Accept it because it is yours, right? And now begin to walk in it. How do you walk in it? See it in your mind's eye, and you will begin to behave in a sober fashion, right? Duma Macha, he down there playing already. He's awake and he's playing. I'm like, what's wrong with you? Can't you rest a little longer? But you know how kids are. So I trust. You are so welcome. You can always communicate with me on whatever platform. You can slide into my DMs. That's perfectly fine. Because I'll be here. And uh, you know, this is how we roll every day, you know? We help each other to help ourselves because there is only the self. There is only self. Uh Luciano. Hello, darling. Welcome to the space. Hey, Dawn. I see you in here. Listen, my rooster is quiet. You leave him alone, just so you know. um, you know why? You were seeking. You were seeking, and when you seek, you find. I'm just playing the role in your dream that you assigned me to play. You know what I'm saying, Vern? I'm just playing that role. That's my alarm. Anyway, I shall not keep you any longer, but do know each and every one of you. I may not know you intimately, but I know you because we are one. One awareness, one consciousness. That is what we are. And always see the best for each other. Because when you see the best for the other, because you are seeing the best, you have to experience the best for self. You see? But if you see the worst for other, there is no other. You will experience what you have within. So love one another and see the best for one another and live nobly. And with that, my beautiful friends, I bid you, yes. Oh, wow, Moon, I didn't even know. Well, I knew about Robert Downey Jr., but I did not know about Oprah Winfrey or Samuel L. Jackson. I didn't know that they were all, they all recovered from addictions. I had no idea. Wow. Well, thank you. See, I learned something new today. But yes, we we are here and we love each other. Not love as in, no. It is in the knowing that we are one. Many faces, many names, many cultures, but one.
Positively, Angela, I know you're trying to leave.
Go ahead, Delay. I got time.
I just want to say I'm so grateful for this space today because it helped me to realize that, my issue is that when I'm getting towards what I'm trying to manifest, it stops or changes. And so today's space helped me to realize that I have to think about it and write it all down all the way to the end. So I'm just grateful for you. Thanks, Moon, for speaking up and sharing. And so, thank you.
You're so welcome.
Oh, man.
Yeah. Dawn.
Morning, everyone. I'm a little late to the party this morning, but man, it was like the way you talk about everything just being connected is perfect. Because I was just debating. I'm like, I'm trying to take a marijuana break, and I'm like, well, I feel like rolling me one up, but I'm like, I'm not gonna do it because I was supposed to take a break a whole month ago. As soon as I clicked in the room, you was talking about sobriety and taking a break, and I'm like, man, there is a God, hallelujah, baby Jesus does love me. I'm like, you know what? This was my motivation. Be like, you know what? F that. I ain't rolling up shit. I need to take a break. Even though I'm a marijuana advocate, it's not as bad as some other things that people do, but we all need to take breaks from things. from time to time, to cleanse our bodies. And I was supposed to take one a whole month ago, and I hadn't been able to because I've been a little stressed. My mind been working. But so you gave me motivation this morning just to keep doing my thing. So I appreciate you as always, darling, for motivating the motivators as always. So, yeah, this was a really good day in church for me. So thanks a very lot, everyone.
Oh, Dawn, you're so welcome. You're so welcome. You see, there are no coincidences, not a single one. As within, so without. You see, no coincidences. None. He just happened to come into the room as I'm talking about it. What coincidence? Nah. Donna, you sent and you called me. You sent and you called me. That's why. You see?
Apparently, because in my mind, I was like, you know what? I wasn't even going to pick on fan base. I've been up moving around, and when you're doing things, I said, oh, I need some motivation. Let me see who's in the room. I'm like, it's almost 8:30, and Angela's still in the room. Click. As soon as I hit the button, it was like, that's exactly what I needed. So, kudos. Today was, especially for me, I feel like, even though the light said it was for her too, and that's my buddy. But it was definitely bullseye. Hey, Don.
Mm-hmm. You see, now it does. Here's the thing. I'm over here again on YouTube. Here's the thing. It does not matter what it is. For some, it is weed. For some, it is crack. For some, it is alcohol. It is irrelevant what it is. Never compare yourself to someone else, because that is what will make you stumble. Right? It doesn't matter what it is. The only thing that matters is you accept the sobriety. Done like dinner. Because when you compare yourself, now you bring in things like feeling hopeless because, oh my God, this is so much harder to quit. No, don't look to the left and don't look to the right. The only thing that should have your focus is sobriety, nothing else. Every man, woman, we have our thing to overcome. We do. So overcome the thing that is in front of you. If you're busy looking at somebody else, you're always going to stumble. Pay it. In other words, mind your own business. See how pleasant that is? You have to mind your own business when you're dealing with these kinds of things. Because everybody's not the same. Yes? So that's why I love you. And sometimes when we go long like this, it's for a very specific reason. And clearly, this was it. Right? Because it was. So, practice. Yes, of course, Don. Remember what it is. Here are the 3 steps. One final time, and then I will close. Identify your objective. Sobriety. Money. A new job. A new car. Identify the objective. And then experience in imagination what you would experience in reality. So how would it be? How would it feel to you to have that new job? How would it feel to you to have that sobriety? How would people treat you as you are sober now? Begin to see and feel and experience that in your mind's eye, because that is the blueprint for what you will do on the outside. Remember, plant corn, get corn. Plant sobriety, get sobriety. Right? So the 3rd step, when you're falling asleep at night, fall asleep with that knowledge. I am sober. And begin to have in your mind's eye the images that confirm your sobriety, confirm your new job, confirm your new money, whatever it is. Fall asleep like that. And when you wake up, allow that to be the first thing you do also, before you touch a phone, before you go to the bathroom, before you do anything, do that. And if you find yourself in a pinch in the middle of the day, do it again. Do number 2. Experience in imagination what you would experience in reality. You do it. Because what you're doing is keeping your focus upon the objective. You're like a horse with blinders. Do you know why you put blinders on a horse? So he can only see straight ahead. So when you can only see straight ahead for what your objective is, it will consume you. And what consumes you, you become. So even though it may be hard, remember, every habit takes time. So if you take the time and persist in what you are doing with that objective, by experiencing it in imagination, what you would experience in reality, you have no choice but to be it. That is the process. Day in and day out. Don't ask how long it's going to take. You will begin to see the evidence and feel the evidence of it. Just remain faithful with your blinders on towards your objective. I trust that that makes sense to everybody. I trust that it makes sense. I'm going to put the description. I'm going to put the steps in the description. I'll go back and put them in there so you can always read them. Okay? I love you. I love you. And I'll be here. I'll be here. Much love to each and every one of you. And for my girl, let's do it again. Countdown initiated. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Much love. I won't tell a little bit you got chicken legs in that picture. I won't tell him nothing. Oh my God, you guys are awesome. Whew. I love you all. I'll see you later.